Workaholic fans, it's Dosbroom again. Starting another video blog at the moment. You may notice I do not have the voices over my shoulder today. Taking a break from Skype and gaming for a little bit. As much as video games are my escape from things and that I'm dealing with, it's important that you go back to those things. It really is. Don't escape all of your issues and then just let them sit. Actually go back to them with a clear mind. That way you can take care of them. That's what games are there for. They're an escape for us to create an ideal version of us. That way we can go back to those issues that drove us to play the game in order to actually move on, so to speak. I may sound different. I haven't been myself for a while. Games for me are always different because they are what I grew up with. Growing up, I was always taught that if you're going to do something, do it well. Don't do anything half-assed. Don't do something just because you need to. Do something because you want to. That way you put more time into it, you put more energy into it, and you're proud of it. You can actually be proud of what you've accomplished that way, I guess is what I'm saying. And when it comes right down to it, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't give up at the first crossroads when whatever plan it was that you were making, completely falls through. Going to college right now, the professors and some of the other students are very, very quick to say that it's okay to have 3 or 4 different careers throughout your life, because you're considered very lucky to be able to have one career for the entire span of your life. Whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you want to do. One of the reasons why my friends aren't with Skype with me and why I'm taking a break from things right now is because my mental state isn't always there. I can say that. And it may sound like a bad thing. It might be a bad thing, but I make do with it. In sociology, they talk about the looking glass effect. Like, our perception of ourselves is our perception of how others perceive us. So we get an idea of ourselves by judging how other people react to us. But for me, I always called it the shattered glass effect. Because for me, at the end of the day, I actually take a look at what I did during the day, see what I could have done better. I could do a lot of things better. And I apologize for those of you out there who might be watching this. If you've interacted with me and I was a total jerk to you or an ass to you, I do apologize for that. Unfortunately, that's just a side effect of me. I operate at extremes. Now, it's not the extremes that the media wants to publish, it's downgraded from that. But most of the time, I'm the friend that friends want to have. I will drop everything that I'm doing in order to help you. It is very hard for me to make enemies. I mean, obviously, there's going to be people out there that are going to hate me or dislike me. But from my point of view, it's very hard for me to hate people or to dislike people. I may not talk to you for a while, just because it takes me a while to mentally go through a process where I will forgive a person and then go back to talking to them again. Or it may not be even forgiving that person, it might be forgiving myself for an action that caused that person to be that way. And actually, I wrote a poem about this. And yes, I do write poetry. I've been told it's good poetry. I mean, some of it's actually been published. This is a magazine that's published on my college campus. And I did write a poem about being at different extremes. And I am that way. I'm a gentleman. I do have morals. I do have standards that I live up to. But to the same token, when I play video games or I watch certain movies, I have that cynical part of me, that blow everything up part of me, so to speak, that comes out. And then all those standards and morals go out the window. But they do come back. And I'm at a constant war with myself, so to speak, because then all of the feelings of remorse come out. And then I have to sit there and I have to mentally process through everything going, hey, it's okay, it was just a game. Or go and apologize to that friend, whoever it was that you just upset. And it may not come out as an apology to you if I have interacted with you on that sort of level. It may not seem that way, but I am trying. I do have different levels of my mentality that come out at different times. I'm not bipolar. I don't have multiple personalities. I've named feelings. I've named emotions that come out. But I'm always, most of the time, in control of my emotions. And yes, I'm a guy. Yes, I do have emotions, so I'm different. I'm not the stereotype. But I don't know where I was going with that line of thought. It's just me. I grew up being told that I needed to put everything, being told to put my 110% into anything that I did. And I do that for every action that I do, and it is exhausting. But that taught me how to wear a mask. And V for Vendetta actually spoke this quite well. Is you learn to wear a mask for so long, you forget the person who it was underneath it. I think is how the quote goes. And that is true. I grew up working retail. I helped my dad with his entrepreneur shop, and then I worked over at Walmart for a great many years. And working retail, going through high school, you learn very quickly to wear a mask. You cannot be emotional when you're dealing with customers. You need to paint that smile on your face and be the helpful associate that you need to be in order to help that person find what it is that they wanted, or, as my dad's shop went, help that person through whatever issues that they're dealing with. And that's the mentality that I grew up with, is the fact that even though you're on the job, people will vent on you. Customers will come in and vent on you. Employees will come in and vent on you. And you had to learn very quickly how to deal with that. Or at least I did. I became the ear that was there. I became the shoulder that was there. I even became the driver that was there. There were employees that would often walk home through the rain, through the snow, and if I passed them along the street, I would pause with whatever I was doing to offer them a ride home. And that was me. Growing up, I was, what's the cliche? The knight in shining armor, so to speak. I was always helping people, and I don't know where that changed. I have theories where that all changed, especially with the military, going through my divorce. Yes, I am divorced. Military taught me how easy it is to trust people, to forgive people. Because when you are facing death down a barrel, you learn very quick who your friends are, who has your back. Divorce taught me it's very easy for that trust to be broken. And it's hard getting that back. It's hard being able to trust people again. Because I don't want to constantly base myself on who I was. I don't want to go back to that naive me. Yes, I still want to be the knight in shining armor. Yes, I want to be able to still help people. But I don't want to be so as naive as I was to trust every person at a drop of a hat. I respect people at the drop of a hat. I will give you that level of respect until you prove to me otherwise, that I can't do that. But I don't want to be as naive as I was, because I was incredibly used. I was walked upon. My being there to help people then came to rely on that instead of putting forth the effort on their own first. And I'm no better than the next person. I am not the perfect human to be by any means. I do make mistakes. I will make people mad at me. I will be an ass and a jerk to people, because that side of me will come out every now and again. And I do apologize again if that does come out. But as humans, we live at those extremes without thinking about it. We have that dark side and that light side that are constantly warring with ourselves. And for those of us that have perfected the means of calming that, that's cool. You can be who you want to be then. But it's finding out who you are first and then go out into life that's important. And sometimes that goes hand in hand. You need to go out to discover the world before you can understand who you are. But for me, it's at the end of the day, like a meditation sort of thing. Looking at who I am, what I did during the day, what I could do better, that I find out who I am. And don't be afraid to tap out. Don't be afraid to put everything down for a little while and just go off for a time period. Because beating your head through a wall, yelling, screaming, whatever else, it's not going to get you anywhere. It just tears you down and tears down whoever it is that you're going unwittingly after. It tears at you after a while. But anyway, I was going to read you a poem. This was one I actually wrote earlier this year called The Gray Area. So humble, yet stark, I am the light, yet part of the dark. I have intelligence, yet I am not smart. I love without reason, yet stand accused of treason. I am good, yet I am also evil. The destroyer of worlds, yet I am compassionate light. I am war, who fights for peace. I am greeting life, yet still withering decay. I am short-lived, but my actions speak for eternity. My simple actions betray my complex thoughts. I am the deep thinker of empty thoughts. I am wild, yet I've been domesticated. Taught that I am free while I live enslaved. I live in the past, erasing the future. We are the shadows on the ground, yet still we are the light of the present, for we are only human. That pretty much sums up my thoughts. We only have so many years here to make it as big as of an impact as we want to make, or that we can make, whichever way you want to look at that. At one point in time, my entire life goals was to be that father. I wanted to have that career job, to have that big house, family, wife, a wife and a life. Your wife can be your life, or husband. And with this divorce, it's all that changed. I still want that goal, but it's, do I really want to grasp at it again? Do I really want to try? And I drive people away because of that. I push people away, yet I kick and scream for them to stay. I think is a song lyric from way back when. Because the worst fear that I have is being alone. Yes, the internet is there. Yes, I have this channels that I've started here on YouTube and Twitch, and I see there are a lot of people that watch. And I do appreciate that. Because that tells me that my voice is being heard by somebody. I guess that's all I could thank for. All I could live for. Is my voice being heard. My worst fear is at the end of the road, when I pass on. Nobody remembers me. All I was a face on the wall. The wallflower. Everybody knew my face. Nobody knew me. Nobody knew my story. Nobody thought of me as a hero. Yes, I served in the military. Yes, people may consider me a hero for that, but I didn't do anything. I broke my wrist about a month into the deployment. I was stuck on base the entire deployment. Boots on the ground. Broke my wrist and I was stuck on base. I didn't let that faze me though. Doctors would yell at me because I would saw part of my, like the thumb part of my cast, I would actually saw it off just so I could fire a weapon. They tried taking that away from me for a time period too. But when you see death non-stop, it makes you stop and think what you're living for. See, the question isn't why it is that we fight. The question is, what is it that you fight for? Yeah, you can fight for peace, or you can fight for a world where there is no war. But there's always going to be war. There's always going to be greed. There's always going to be those thoughts that I'm better than you are. I'm not meaning that literally, I'm just throwing that thought out there. People are always going to have egos. People are always going to have greed. People are always going to have religions. My religion is better than yours mentality. You can't have peace without there being war. You can't have chaos without also having order. You can't have light without there also being dark. Because you need that comparison in order to define what the other is. There's always going to be some level of the opposite there, no matter how hard it is that you fight to squish it. And yes, my thoughts, I will be rambling in many more of the video blogs that I put up, because that's how my thoughts are. I just go pop from one subject to the next. But people seem to like that. The few friends that I have. They like the philosophical version of me that comes out every now and then. Even though it seems like when I do discuss them, I'm looking down my nose at them. And I don't mean to. There are times where I feel like I'm not actually part of this world. I'm not part of the rat race that's out there making do with what you... going the fastest from point A to point B. The most efficient way possible. Just to end up on your deathbed at the end of the road. So quick to be running around, so quick to lose sight of the world around us. That at the end of the day, or at the end of the road, when we lay down, we review over the events of the day, the events of the year, the events of our life. Why didn't I see that person before now? You never know what you have until it's gone. Because it's very easy for us to take advantage of things. It's very easy for us to take for granted what it is that we have. Because we are always reaching for that next ounce. We're always reaching for that next little bit of joy because we think that one will be the one to fill us up. Because that's what we were taught. We were taught how to be consumers. We were taught, oh, you're not good enough. Here's something that will help make you better. So that's what we latch on to. I guess that's what I'm wrestling with, is the fact that I will never be good enough. And yes, that might be a downplay. That might be bashing myself or tearing myself down. But it's honest. I will never be that perfect person. So I am who I am. And I'm happy with that. Don't change yourself to fit the world around you. Change the world around you to fit yourself. You may be only one person, but if enough, not you going to be using proper English on this one, but if enough one persons stand up, if enough individuals stand up for ourselves and for each other, there's no limit to that potential. There's no limit to what we can do. Yes, there are always going to be those in power above us that will always bash us down, who will pull us down, who tell us that we aren't good enough, that we can't stand up. What's stopping us? Our lives? Shouldn't. I'm the driver on the road that most people don't want to be stuck behind. Because I take my time. I go the speed limit on the highway. Not all the time, most of the time. If I'm passing a truck, I don't speed up. People get mad at me for that, and I get like this giant line of cars behind me because they're expecting me to speed up to their speed. Slow down. Slow down and look around you. For my sociology experiment, what I'm doing is with my sociological, however you want to pronounce it, perspective. I'm looking at everything cognitive-wise, functional-wise, how everything fits together. I'm studying cell phones. The next time you go out to mall, to public place, park, look around. How many other people are on their phones? How many other people are on their tablets? Last time I went out, I saw an entire family, father, mother, 3 sons, walking along, all have their cell phones out, tapping away, just walking along. Is that how integrated technology is with us now? That we can do that? That we can walk along expecting people to either move out of our way or multitasking, we can actually see them while we're walking along. Have we become so efficient with that that we can think like that without thinking about it? I mean, I have a dumb phone. It's an LG. I don't have internet on it. It does texts, it does calls, and that's all I want it to do. And that's all I'm happy with. And being able to sit down and just take a moment, 10 minutes, and just observe people without judging them, just calming my mind, so to speak, for those 10 minutes and just look around. You'd be amazed at what you find, what you overlooked. I guess that's the thought I'm going to leave off on today. Just take 10 minutes. Just look around you. Stop and smell the flowers, as the saying goes. Because you'd be surprised at what you'll find. We may not be able to have the power to cast that giant rock into the pond of life, to cause the massive waves of change. But one little help, one little action, cause that ripple. If enough of those ripples go out, maybe there will be a wave of change. There are enough ripples that pond of life will never be stale, will never be stagnant. And I think that's where we're going. I think it's getting, or at least it was getting, to the point where the pond was becoming stale. We were taking everything around us for granted. We were happy with being content. There's two levels of that. Being happy does not always mean being content, and vice versa. You can be content, but you'll never be truly happy. And if you're happy, you'll never feel content, because you'll want to go that next step. You'll want to become the next step after that happiness. You want to prolong that sense of happiness. You never want to go back to being content. And as difficult as that's a concept for most people to understand, that's what I look at. That's what I want. I want to be happy again. Yes, I'm content with the life that I have now, most times. Sometimes. Most of the time I want it to change. Because I'm not happy. It's time that I come to terms with that. I'm not happy with being that angry individual at times. Being so quick with my temper. I'm not happy with that. I was happy spending my time with other people. Because that's my life. Making other people happy is what makes me happy. Seeing people smile. Seeing people think. Knowing that I planted a little idea to make them stop and think. That's what I do. Yes, most of my video games and whatnot don't do that. All they do is show the emotions side of me and the way that I play games. So maybe that's why I started this blog. I don't know. I do things most of the time now just because my gut tells me that I should do them. So I follow along with my gut. Try new things. Spend each day learning just one thing more. Learn something new. Whether it's about the world around you or about yourself. That's what I try and do. I try and do a lot of things. Unfortunately, most of them don't pan out very well for me. But I try. I try. Sometimes not as hard as I should be. Anywho, that's it for today. When I come back next week, I should have some more poems to read to you all. As soon as I deal with whatever bug it is that's going around in my mind at the moment, planting little seeds of doubt. So, anywho, thank you for joining me today. If you like this video, please feel free to subscribe, favorite it, share it, leave a comment below, tell me what you think, what your thoughts are. And as always, remember, it's okay to get mad and smash stuff, but only in the game. Ciao.